Hey, my name is Austin. Did you know that up to 60% of the calories that Americans consume comes from processed food? Understandably, there's a lot of confusion about what makes a food processed, and by the end of this video, you'll have a much better understanding. So when it comes to processed food, there are actually 4 different categories based on how processed the food is. The first category is unprocessed or minimally processed food. Then there's processed culinary ingredients, processed food, and lastly, ultra-processed food. Let's dive into each of these. First, we have unprocessed and minimally processed food. Truth is, nearly all foods in the grocery store have gone through some degree of processing. But whole foods without added ingredients like fruits, vegetables, raw cuts of meat and fish, mushrooms, eggs, and nuts count as unprocessed. Minimally processed food could be dried, frozen, boiled, vacuum packed, or any other form of preservation that doesn't involve salt, sugar, or other ingredients. These foods are better suited for travel, but they maintain their integrity as a whole food. Next, we have processed culinary ingredients. This group mainly consists of calorie-dense foods that you don't typically eat by themselves, like sugar, butter, non-caloric ingredients like salt, and oils. Processed seed oils like soybean oil are among the most common sources of fat in the American diet, but are some of the worst oils for metabolic fitness. It's best to avoid some of these oils altogether if you can. Then we have processed food. Processed food usually has at least, but can have several more slightly modified versions of recognizable food. Most cheeses, tofu, and processed meat like ham, bacon, smoked fish, and pastrami also fall into this category. Whether or not processed food can be a part of a healthy diet comes down to context and ingredients. However, it's easy to end up eating too much fat, salt, and especially sugar from foods in this category. Finally, we have ultra-processed food. Most people think of foods like fast food, frozen meals, or breakfast cereal when you consider food in this category. But this can also include seemingly healthy energy bars and protein shakes. To make products like this, first, manufacturers break down whole foods to create raw materials like oil, sugar, starch, protein, and fiber. Next, some of these products undergo chemical modifications to break them down further. These parts then mix with other food derivatives and synthetic additives and result in your favorite ultra-processed food like some bread, pastries, cookies, and even your favorite chicken nuggets. A healthy, clean diet should avoid these foods altogether. Not only do they have little nutritional value, but regularly consuming their excess salt, sugar, and unhealthy fats can promote oxidative stress and even disrupt the gut microbiome. So now that you have a better handle on what's happening to the food that we're eating, here are 5 quick takeaways for thinking about processed food. First, whole unprocessed food are best as they pack the most nutrients and healthy fiber. Try your best to eat food that looks real. Second, minimally processed food can also be a nutrient-rich option if whole or unprocessed food are unavailable to you. Third, avoid canola oil, soybean oil, and any other processed vegetable oil whenever possible. Fourth, check your food labels. If you can easily recognize all the ingredients as food that you can buy on their own, it's a safe bet that the food hasn't gone through a lot of processing. Fifth and lastly, avoid ultra-processed food altogether. You can recognize ultra-processed food by their long ingredient lists, including common offenders like dextrose, maltose, and artificial sugar. You know, when it comes to the food that you put in your body, keeping it simple is best. Everything that we need to survive as a species has been right at our fingertips our entire lives. And getting back to consuming primarily whole foods is a great first step that we can all take in our pursuit of optimal metabolic health. Thanks for watching.